The use of Bitcoin as digital money is still in its early stages. The year 2024 was great. A big step forward was when the ETFs went public at the start of the year. A second important step forward is that big political parties have now accepted Bitcoin. I believe that Bitcoin is moving toward becoming more normal. The approval of options trade for ETFs is a big deal. It is very exciting to see steps being taken by banks to start holding Bitcoin. Fair value accounting was used by a lot of businesses this year. That's an exciting new step forward. Also, people who have been keeping an eye on the money going into Bitcoin ETFs have seen that it's been picking up over the last few weeks. Pretty much everyone agrees that these Bitcoin spot ETFs are the most popular ETFs ever. So even though it's early, it looks good. Bitcoin is an asset class worth about $1.4 trillion. As you can see, Bitcoin is slowly going to pull money away from stocks, real estate, bonds, currency derivatives, and gold. Hello, this is Erin from Bitcoin Bros. I just heard Michael Saylor on the MicroStrategy's earnings call talking about the power of Bitcoin. In a moment, we'll listen to Michael Saylor talk about why MicroStrategies is so powerful. He talks about the power of MSTR, MSTX, MSTU, the Bitcoin exchange traded funds, and what is now the MicroStrategy ecosystem. He talks about the power of all of that over the next couple of years. This is from the call with the investors. We're going to watch that right now. Not yet though. We just wanted to give you guys some new information first. We've been keeping an eye on the job news, as you know. They had bad news about the jobs. October only saw 12,000 new jobs, less than the 110,000 jobs that were expected. This could mean that people are about to sell, but the most important thing right now is to stay focused. It's going to happen in a few days during the election. Some people say that the reason this jobs report was so bad is that many businesses are waiting to hire again until after the election, when they know for sure what will happen in the future. There's a lot of disagreement about why these job numbers were so bad, but this is something to keep an eye on because they are likely to be moved down, which means they could even go negative. That's not good at all to see. And if we see that in December and then again in January of next year, the stock market might drop, which could cause Bitcoin and MicroStrategy to drop as well. Guys, that's just something to keep in mind. I'm not being very negative. I haven't sold any Bitcoin or MicroStrategies, but I wanted to let you know. The stock market usually goes down after an election though, and I want to tell you about it. In November 2012, after the election, the stock market actually went down a bit, as you can see. But over the next year, it went up a lot by about 30%, and you can see that here in 2016. You can see that the stock market went up after the election and had a great year, going up around 30%. The same thing happened in 2020. The stock market got some clarity and did nothing but go up. Now compare that to what Bitcoin did those years. In 2012, Bitcoin was only worth about $12 or $10, but it had a great year, going up at least 1000%. Then in 2016, Bitcoin didn't drop at all during the election, but it did have a nice year after that, going up around 500%. Finally, you all know what happened in 2020 and early 2021. Bitcoin had a pretty great year. It didn't drop during the election, and the actions of the election made things clearer. Based on what has happened in the past, we should be optimistic about the stock market and Bitcoin for the next year. Then there is the Bitcoin cycle that lasts for 4 years. It looks like 2025 will be a good year for the stock market, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies. But let's see what takes place. Leave a note below telling me what you think about that. We can now listen to Michael Saylor talk about how powerful MicroStrategy is. Let's watch this clip. There is a lot of mess in the market. I mean, people don't understand MicroStrategy. It's not taken as seriously as it should be. I believe the business is worth more than it is worth. And it all starts with the fact that MicroStrategy is just a holding business that has some Bitcoin that trades at a higher price. And people who are short on the company want to figure out how to make sense of the idea that the company might only be worth its net asset value plus a small bonus. To put it another way, saying that a bank is only worth its net or book value of its capital is like saying that 98.5% of Apple is based on what people think the business will do in the future, and only 11.2% is based on how much cash the company has on hand. So the value of most businesses is based on how well they run, and how much money they have saved up. So what are we doing if we think of MicroStrategy as a Bitcoin safe deposit box? We are connected to the big business. Then tech, inflation, entropy, and chaos are what move the market as a whole. In turn, the digital economy is driven by the big economy. People buy and sell all kinds of crypto assets and Bitcoin back and forth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This makes Bitcoin very unpredictable. That's why Saturday night is a good time to sell $10 billion. That's why it's worth $1 billion on Sunday morning, right? The cryptocurrency market or the cryptocurrency platforms that are linked to Bitcoin are picking up on the emotions and vibrations, as well as the good and bad changes in the overall business. So what makes people choose Bitcoin? Protecting capital and getting work done. They will of course keep doing that. That's an asset class worth $1.4 trillion. Right now Bitcoin is a good. It's something digital. Our banking operations use MicroStrategy to get that digital good. One of the things we do is buy Bitcoin. We buy Bitcoin and keep it safe for our buyers, because many of them either can't or don't want to hold Bitcoin and keep it safe. We also sell other types of securities such as our convertible bonds and our stock. We also change our pressure every so often. We take on more debt and pay it off. Well, if we have an expensive note like this $500,028 note, we pay it off and get cheaper leverage in its place. That's what we always do. And in the future, if we have to, we'll pay our security holders interest and make any other payments they need. That's the job of running things. The Bitcoin we have saved up lets that business run. There are 252,220 Bitcoin here. What's unique? It's capital that lasts. It's not overnight payments, so it can't be. We can make use of the cash or lean on it. We know that we can borrow money for 4 years and we'll have the money back in 4 years. The person who buys the security will then know that we have the money. So our funds show that the company is creditworthy. What do they do besides that? Well, we use our savings to create leverage by putting together fixed income and equity. We create leverage when we sell stocks at a higher price than their base net asset value. We make leverage every time we sell debt. We make leverage when we sell convertibles or create conversion rights for a high price. We create leverage by making the terms of our tools longer. This means that our reserves have some smart power in them. These things are worth about $18 billion at the moment. We have the most Bitcoin cash that will never be spent. What can we do with it now? There are a lot on the right side, which means the market wants to buy shares. Some examples of securities they like and everyone knows about are spot Bitcoin ETFs, EBITS, FBTC, and so on. There are about 42 of them now. Spot ETFs will be available in every country in the world. They meet the standards for compliance and custody, and they give you 1x leverage. If Bitcoin doubles, so will most of your money. You'll likely lose half of your money if Bitcoin is split in half. They charge you 20 to 25 basis points in fees. In the business world, they're a bit like the big banks. They take overnight deposits and can only do a few things because they are trust businesses. If you give them $1 million, they can buy Bitcoin. They give you back the $1 million when you ask for them. That's what they do. They don't have long-term savings. They can't keep your money for 10 years. You should know that they have very, very easy redemption windows every day. So they never bought or sold a profit. They are not willing to trade for less. In other words, they look a lot like Bitcoin. It looks like their instability is like Bitcoin. At 50 vol, they'll stay at 50 vol. The way they work will be like Bitcoin. They will look like 50R if Bitcoin is 50R. This is a great item for people who want to buy the spot object but want it to be safe by being wrapped in something else. I'm sure that this device will be used by a lot of people in the future. There is a straight link. The micro approach, on the other hand, offers